What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Nutrition Coaching Secrets podcast, Wednesday night edition. Tommy, what's up, brother?
What's up? I think for the first time in the history of the podcast, we're a couple minutes early.
I believe that is a first, so let's not make this a habit. So no, man, it feels good to be back. I've missed this. We were in a really good regular cadence, and then the world got weird. Not really the world, dude, just our schedule. We traveled. Obviously, the event in Scottsdale was amazing. If you haven't been there, if you haven't seen the video, you're just missing out. So much fire in one day. I really think it was our best training we've ever done. And definitely the live level 2 experience superseded anything we've ever done live in terms of a cert. So shout out to everybody that came there. It was amazing. I loved it, and I'm excited to do more in 2021. We actually we'll be announcing our first 2021 event very soon. So stay tuned for that. It is going to be the cheapest entry to an event we've ever done. Meaning, like, it's not a $500 ticket, it's not a $1,000 ticket. It's not even like a $250 ticket. Like, it is fucking cheap. So make sure you stay tuned, because we want everybody there. Like, we decided we want more people there, and so we're gonna make the barrier of entry very low. And we also have something really special planned already for that time frame. So super excited to do that.
Love it, man. I just realized the lighting I have going on, this makes me look like an absolute ghost. It's a full softbox that I use to record YouTube videos. And I was like, you know what? My audio quality today is not very good because my mic broke. A new mic's coming in. So by the next time we record, we'll have better audio quality. I was like, let me just try out the lighting, improve that. And now I look like a ghost that doesn't sound good. So
I have my ring light on, but I don't have it all the way up. So I'm a little dark. I could probably lighten it up, but whatever. It is what it is tonight.
Yeah, it's all good. The background and the graphics do the work for us.
There you go, man. So what are we talking about tonight, sir?
We're talking about how you made $100,000 in an hour. So I'm curious about this. I would love to know how to do that. I've never done that before. So.
Which time are we talking about?
That's the biggest honest, right?
Low-key flex here. We've done it a couple times, but no. Actually, when we were talking about topics, and when I wanted to bring this up to everybody, I kind of wanted to prove a point that there are multiple ways to go about this, and the power of live training, the power of being able to communicate your message, the power of really understanding the pain and the possibility and the path that goes into communicating your message is so critical to making lots of money. And so the very first time we ever used a live training was actually last December. I believe it was December 30th, 2019. And on that night, we did a training. The offer was a $5,000 offer, and we generated a little over $130,000 that night. So that was literally the first time ever in 1 hour we did it. But a lot of people in this group, a lot of people listening to this podcast, they don't have a $5,000 offer. Some of them don't even have a $1,000 offer. So I want to talk about how to do it a slightly different way. And this is probably one of my favorite case studies that we've ever done. I was hell bent on proving a point, and we proved it. We proved it very well. And so, throughout this whole year, we really dug into the strategy of using webinars. And I love how internet marketing sensationalizes everything, and they're like, oh, webinars are dead. And it's like, no, they're really not, because we made well over $1 million this year off of webinars alone. And live trainings absolutely crushed it for us. In fact, some of our best students, Sam Miller did very well with webinars. Mike Milner did very well with webinars. Christy Campbell has done well with webinars. I've had people, I had one client had 7 people to show up on a webinar, and they converted 4 of them on a $2,000 offer. And, $8,000 from 7 people, that doesn't suck either. So there's definitely some power in doing live trainings, but it's not always what you make directly in that hour. It's what you sell and the model that lives behind it. And that's what I wanted to talk about today. So a lot of people look at time versus ROI, right? I'm training for an hour. Which means, if I close, 30%, 40%, I can make $150,000 in that hour. That's beautiful, right? That's super cool. But there's other ways too. And so the one that I was really interested in is towards the middle of Corona. There, I made a point, and I said it publicly. I said the middle ground has been eliminated. And so when you actually look at buying behavior during the pandemic, you'll see that low ticket purchases were being made all the time: 37, 47, 97, 197, 597. 500 to 600 was kind of like the cap on like low ticket. Lots of those purchases were being made. And then 5,000 and above were being made like crazy. I sold more $30,000 packages during the pandemic than I've ever sold in my life. And so people were willing to invest at a high level because they recognized, right, the pain of not creating change became so much worse during the pandemic. So people's desire to purchase high ticket went exponentially higher. And so you have to understand, it's a function of everything we have always talked about. It's super high, the purchase, right, or the ability to compel purchase will also be super high. If life circumstances are already dictating pain, you should have no problem selling high ticket. But you also have to understand that middle is now gone, because the middle is where insecurity lives, right? A lot of people, they make this middle ground investment, $250 a month, $1,000, $1,500, and they're like, oh well, I can barely afford it. It's probably not going to work for me, but whatever, I'll try it again. And those are the kinds of clients we all know that just use us as an excuse. They're right, like, well, I hired Tommy as my coach, and Tommy's a dickhead, and I didn't follow anything he said, but he's a dickhead, so it doesn't work for me. And that's not a great way to go about it, but unfortunately, that's how a lot of clients do go about it. And so, I made this prediction, and I said, listen, the middle ground's going away. The low ticket and the high ticket is going to win. Well, you're not going to get super rich off a low ticket, right? If we want to make 100 grand selling $500, it would take 2 to get $1,000. It would take 100 of those. So it would take 200 sales at $500 to hit 100K. I'm not sure I've had 200 people on any webinar this year other than like 2. So I would have to be 100% close on those 2 to make 100 grand. And so that's definitely not the way to get there. Again, $5,000. Most people don't have a $5,000 offer. So that's very difficult. So it relies on a very strategic ascension model. And so I want to lay out what I did. Well, first of all, I've done so many webinars where the offer was, again, it was 1,500, it was 5,000, it was higher price, right? Everybody knows Jason's going to sell you at the end of a webinar, and it's a higher price product. So this time I was like, listen, tonight is not about anything high ticket. Tonight is about us guaranteeing an outcome. It's a life raft, right? And shout out to Taki Moore for using those words. I thought it was such a good depiction of a low barrier offer. He calls it a life raft. And so anytime I do that, I have to give him credit. By the way, all you coaches out there, if you're taking from other coaches, you should definitely give them credit. Like that's something I feel very passionately about. So something we always, we've only been ripped off a million times. So it's one of those things. Give your people credit. I promise you, it makes you look better, not worse. So shout out to Taki for doing that. So we said we're going to do a life raft offer, and we sold a $500 offer. Now, the offer was for 1 night of coaching with us. It was to take a 90-day program and to teach you the whole methodology and the whole framework in 1 night. Okay. Now, this 90-day program is normally $5,000 to $10,000, depending on when we sell it. And we said this is only $500. All right. We got 26 people to purchase it this night. Right. So do the math. $13,000. All right. $13,000 was our initial take. Now, when we went in on that first night, I'll never forget, I landed in Nashville and I had to teach it. And I get about 45 minutes into the training and I see eyes like this, like glazed over, like, what the fuck is he talking about? This is entirely too much information for 1 hour. And so I'll never forget, I texted Michael and I was like, bro, we got to extend this. And he's like, yeah, you're right. So I asked him, I said, are you guys cool if we over deliver? Can I turn this into a 3-night training? Can we connect more? And they were all like, yeah, like that would be amazing, right? Because you always want to over deliver on what you sell. So, so take notes. If you sell a 1-night program, don't be afraid to turn that into a 3-night program. Like, yes, it's more time investment, but yes, you are going to get more conversion. Okay. So we get to night number 2. I'm like, this is going amazing. Like the homework from night number 1, everyone crushed it. Night number 2, they're super into it. And I'm like, guys, can I make you another offer? And they said, yeah, of course. And so I'm like, we're having such great success. The 90-day iteration is supposed to be 10,000. But if you guys commit tonight, it's only $5,000. right? So I'm going to do 50% off. Now they're already excited. They're already seeing results, right? So they're literally, they've already made their $500 back. They're profiting on their $500. So we've got them in a momentum path. And when I make them this offer, it's almost a no-brainer, right? How many people do you think out of 26 converted, dude?
Well, for doing the math and you made $100,000, I would say at least 20.
Yeah. So 24 people converted, right?
Ooh.
So we're just what I don't even know what that math. So we're over 100 grand at that point, right? That's 120 grand. So 120 grand plus the initial 13. So we're at $133,000, right? Here's the beauty. There's 5 people, or there's 24 people that jump into the 90-day program. Again, we demonstrate lots of success, right? Now, 90-day program, and not everybody at that level is going to have massive success because some people just work harder than others. But the people that really worked hard, they became the leaders, they became the champion of the cause. And they really started like pushing it out. So what do you think we did at the end of, well, we made them another offer, right? And so at that point, right, we really didn't have another ascension other than to go to our 30K group, but our 30K group is application only. There are financial metrics you have to be able to achieve to get in that. And so instead, we said, hey, by the way, there's this program we're launching. It's lifetime coaching. You've already invested $55 with us. Normally it's $10,000. So we'll split the difference with you for another $3,000. You can now receive coaching from Jason for life, like never another payment until you're ready to move to the boardroom. And obviously the take rate there was also super high. I want to say something like 14 people ended up jumping into that. So that was another, what is that, $42,000 on top of the 130. So we did over 170 grand. And this all stemmed from the very first webinar where we made a $500 offer, right? Now, a lot of coaches are like, Jason, how can I make a $5,000 offer? How can I make a $20,000 offer? You know, and dude, you were there the very first time. I think you were there when I pitched a $50,000 offer. And I've told the story, like I almost pissed my pants making the $50,000 offer. I'll never forget. I was like shaking as I was like writing on the board. But you have to realize it's just a number. It's a function of value. And I think every coach, the first time they make a big ticket offer, has a little imposter syndrome. They have a little bit of fear. But you have to make the offer and you have to know that it's valuable. And by the way, the more the customer pays, the more they pay attention, right? We've all heard that quote. So you have to capture their commitment. But if you're not comfortable there, I don't want to be one of those quote unquote gurus that's like, well, it's high ticket or nothing. I think that's complete bullshit. Instead, I think that if you want to get to high ticket, learn how to demonstrate extreme value at low ticket and then learn how to ascend to high ticket. Because here's what naturally ends up happening. And I have coaches like this that work with me. You make a low ticket offer and you get a lot of people into it. Then you get really comfortable and I don't fucking care if somebody says no to my high ticket because I'm crushing my low ticket. So you show up with confidence in your high ticket offer and boom, somebody buys. Boom, another person buys. Boom, another person buys. And you're like, oh my God, 5 grand, 10 grand, 15 grand. Holy shit, the money is piling up, right? And that's what ends up happening. And before you know it, the low ticket doesn't excite you anymore. You're like, wait a minute, I don't want to sell this $100 bullshit. I don't want to sell these $5,000 programs. And you find a way to actually start telling yourself the right narrative that you can and that you will and that you should be selling $5,000 programs, right? And so it really is mindset related as to how you go about selling these. However, mindset is so much deeper than just waking up in the morning and saying, well, you know what, Tommy, I deserve to sell $5,000. Like that's not manifested, right? Like no, that manifestation bullshit doesn't work. Instead, I really believe if you can create rational proof, right? If you can actually show yourself tangible evidence that this does in fact work and that you have a little bit of a safety blanket in continuing to sell your low ticket until you get to the point to where your high ticket is continuing to sell. Now you don't want to sell as much low ticket. I'll give you a really good example, man. Like to work with us this past year, there was a low barrier entry of anywhere between $1,000 to $1,500. On January 1st, that goes away. And the lowest barrier of entry to work with us is not $5,000. That is also going to be very difficult to access. Most people are going to spend between $8,000 and $10,000 in their initial purchase working with us in the new year. And that was a function of me seeing that most people wanted to spend that right away, right? I was making the $1,500 offer, but when I told them about the $8,000 offer, they're like, just give me that. And I'm like, wait, are you serious? Right? I realized my own imposter syndrome, my own bullshit was getting in the way. And so now that I have evidence, right, tangible proof that people will buy the high ticket, well, of course I would much rather make $8,000 sale every day, right? I mean, if you think about that, if I made one $8,000 sale every day, I'm doing $250,000 a month. That's $3 million a year, right? If I make two of those, I'm doing $6 million a year off of 2 sales a day, right? Which is insanity given our metrics and how many sales we actually do make per day. So it's one of those things where in this exact instance was the 100K made in that 1 hour? No. I actually built the foundation in that hour to sell far beyond 100K. And listen, you can certainly sell 100K in an hour. The offer's just got to be really good. But this comes down to a few basic principles. One, you have to have added enough value to move people to an intimate setting, okay? This obeys the laws of conversion. We move them to an intimate setting. In this intimate setting, you have to continue adding value. If you've ever been to my webinars, you know I add value. I give you tangible things that you can walk away with and implement even if you don't buy from me, right? I always structure it properly, and I always ask for the sale. I always ask if we can enter a sales conversation. Again, it obeys the laws of conversion, okay? I also know the lifetime value or the approximate lifetime value of what a customer should be. I have vision, not like I'm not transactional. I'm not buy this from me now and let me sell you again later. When I'm selling you the very first time, I'm selling you in advance, right? I know what you're going to end up buying. And by the way, it's incumbent upon me to produce the results so that you keep buying. So the coaches out here need to be asking, how much value am I adding to even be able to move somebody into an intimate setting? Because a lot of them are not adding enough value to make that ask. And that's a free ask. That is free. You're not charging money. Then once you have them in an intimate setting, are you adding enough value to even enter a sales conversation, right? You can't go into Times Square, pull someone into an alleyway, and then immediately start asking them for money, right? At some point, there needs to be a value exchange, okay?
Pretty much what you're doing when you cold DM people.
Yeah, it's exactly what you do. Although you don't even pull them in an alleyway, you literally just walk up to them in the middle of Times Square.
You're just yelling at them in the middle of the street.
So you have to be able to do that, right? Then once you complete the transaction, the real work has just begun. Because the more value you add once the financial transaction has taken place, the more that transaction just became valuable, right? You are going to be able to extract more out of that transaction because you've already got the know, like, trust factor down. Now it's just about producing fucking results, right? So $500 purchase all the way up to approximately $8,500 was the average customer value, or the potential customer value. Average customer value is probably down closer to about 6K. But when you look at 24 people initial purchase, 6K, I would say we did okay. And that all came from 1 hour. That all came from delivering value, and a lot of those people are with us today. So yeah, I hope that helps because it's really exciting. By the way, I'm getting ready to break down all of the things that we did in this in a free training in another week. I'm going to share with you the value I used in the very first part. I'm going to share with you how I move people to the webinar. I'm going to share with you exactly how I structure my webinar, like the actual secrets of how I'm converting your mindset during it, how I structure my offer, how I deliver that offer, how I actually structure out my upsells, and how I maximize average value, right? Or lifetime value. So I'm going to cover those 7 things in a webinar. And I'm going to be teaching that so that people can take this, do exactly what I did, because I started 2020 with a bang, right? Like I said, we made over $120,000 on last year, December 30th, on that webinar. So I'm going to teach that to people so they can go out and have their own webinar. So anybody that's wanting to see that, if you're watching this right now, you can comment below, let me know you want in, but I'll also be posting information for that over the next 7 days. And it will be the week between Christmas and New Year's. I'll be taking on a small group of people and teaching you the whole methodology. I will leave nothing unturned. And anytime we've made $1 million on a process, I'm pretty sure I feel really good about teaching that process. So I hope that helps.
Yeah, no, that's great. And is there anything else you want to dive into on that specific subject before we move into the Q&A?
No, man, I don't think there's anything. I mean, if there's any questions, people can ask, but I think that I'm excited for this because I know that we're just going to do a little Q&A. And somebody said, count me in from Facebook. I don't know who that is. Somebody said, yes, please. Awesome. So if you guys are amazing. So if you guys are watching and you want in on this, please, somebody was saying, there you go. There you go. Somebody was planning on spending $5K with another coach and was so impressed when he spent just $500. Like, boom. Like, guys, we deliver. And this is super important. Fucking deliver. So, guys, I absolutely love this. You know, and so I'm going to be teaching so much of this again in just a week. And I think that when we do things like this, you got to have all these skills, right? Like, and again, I'm not telling anybody being able to run a webinar is what's going to explode your business. No. It is definitely going to grow your business. It is a skill set. Also, there are multiple ways to run a webinar. There are single night, there are 3 night, there are 2 night, there are 5 days. It's really understanding the principles, and that's why I teach principles. I don't teach tactics. I think everybody knows that by now. But yeah, like super exciting. By the way, like everybody that commented, thank you so much for your response. That's awesome. I'm glad you guys get so much value out of that. Because I was really, like when Tommy messaged me yesterday, like, what do you want to talk about? I was super excited to share this. So yeah, let's jump into Q&A. I hope people got some juicy ones. In the future, guys, this is not like, this is completely off limits. Like, ask whatever you want. Like, you want the unfiltered Jason to come out. Like, this is your chance.
Even more unfiltered.
Yeah, like guys, you guys know I'm unfiltered as fuck, but like, ask whatever you want. Like, let's go. Is there some really fun shit that we're gonna be doing in 2021? Actually, like, I might have to start censoring myself a little bit more, but not really. Whatever. They can all fuck off. They don't like it, then whatever. So yeah, let's do it, man. What do the people want to know?
Dope. So what I'm gonna try to do, I'm gonna test this out. I'm just gonna comment so that way people in the chat can see and I can bring it up on screen.
Cool.
All right. So the first question we got was from Galvanized Strength. He's asking, what are the top 3 mistakes you made when you were starting your coaching business?
Oh, man, that's a really good question. What are the top 3 mistakes? First of all so you got to understand I look at my career in 2 different segments, the first 10 years and the last 6 years. First 10 years, I made a lot of mistakes. The first one was not going all in. I always had a plan B. And, you know, part of that was like my parents were like, you got to have a real job because this online shit's not going to work. And I listened to them. And so I always had like a quote unquote real job. And I never went all in. I always, you know, I'm good friends with Jay Ferrugia now. And I always, every time we have dinner, I always remind him that I would sit in my cubicle and he used to have this video for Renegade Strength. And I would watch it like on loop. I would literally watch it over and over. I'd be like, I'm going to have a facility like that. And it's so funny. Jay and I talk about it all the time because I'm very fortunate to now call Jay a friend and also to advise Jay at times. So shout out to him. Love that guy. And, you know, that was the biggest one, man. The second was not learning marketing. I thought that if I had all the education in the world, that I would be able to speak at a high level, and that my high level ability to articulate would transition, and it just didn't. So I really had to learn marketing. That was a big one. And the third, and this is honestly kind of still a problem for me, if I'm being very honest. Everybody knows I'm really loud and obnoxious, like in character. Like, you know me away from this, I am the least loud and obnoxious person out of character. Like, I go to my room after an event and I don't want to talk to anybody. I'm so antisocial. And I really think that if you want to make it, you got to be social. You got to know everybody. Yeah. I'm very blessed. I have an expansive network, but it's taken a long time to build that, man. And I didn't value that early in my career. And I think that, like, to the coaches out there now, if nothing else, always be building your network. And I should have done that a lot earlier, man. But yeah, that was a great question.
Cool. Love it. And the next question is coming from Magnus. He's asking, what's your biggest lesson from 2020?
There's an opportunity in everything. I'll never forget, I was sitting right here, not in this chair, but there was a rocking chair right here in this exact spot in my bedroom, right around the time the pandemic was hitting. And I was literally like just rocking like back and forth. And I was like, man, I was scared, not gonna lie. I was like, what is this gonna do to business? And I look back now and really the reason that we've succeeded is we've always decided to see the opportunity. No matter what happens, good, bad, ugly, and different, there's always opportunity. And I think that it's incumbent upon you to find that possibility, to pursue that possibility, and to not listen to the noise. The noise is always going to be overwhelmingly negative. It's not sexy to just promote truth. And so the truth is that a lot of people succeeded in the pandemic, just as many people failed. And I have empathy, and I have a lot of empathy for the people that failed. But I also know I grew 500% this year, and that didn't happen on accident. So it just comes down to vision. And so the biggest thing I've learned is there's always an opportunity, man. It's just incumbent upon us to find it.
100% agree. And then the next question we got is, what are your thoughts on having a few different avatars? So by this question, I assume you mean customer avatars.
Stop. No. Zero, a million times no. Stop. That's
Expand on that a little bit.
Like shut the fuck up. No. Like I don't even need to expand. Just shut the fuck up. Like one avatar, you talk to one person. Like you can't talk to fucking multiple people. Like,
oh yeah.
Can you imagine me having a product like, hey, women over 40, I'm gonna fix your fucking menopause, and then I'm gonna turn around to like, hey guys, I'm gonna get your dick hard. Like, no, like it doesn't work like that. So I mean, those are extreme examples, right? But just no.
Yeah. I mean, speaking from firsthand experience, when I narrowed down from trying to get everyone to only talking to basketball players, that's when I really started to see traction. And I mean, I started working with pro players just because my messaging was speaking directly to them. So
I'll give you
narrow it down.
A little better example too is, I had IN3, and IN3 was huge, and we were known as the performance entity. We were known as fueling CrossFitters and professional athletes. Suddenly we started letting our coaches talk to Gen Pop, and that's where our marketing got confusing and people didn't know who we were. And that was actually one of the things that allowed the marketplace to catch up to us. So in case I didn't say it earlier, no.
Cool. All right. And then another question from earlier, going to copy and paste in the chat.
Cool.
When first launching your services, do you suggest discounting your rate sort of like a beta test? Thanks.
Yes, I am a fan of the beta. It is something we teach extensively in Coaching Mastery. Does it need to be a significant discount? No. It still needs to be concurrent with the amount of value you're going to provide. If there is a discount, it's because the also bringing you value, and that's how they're paying the remainder of what you should be owed. So as long as you're looking at it that way, the answer is yes, I see a discount financially speaking, but there shouldn't be a discount in terms of overall transaction. So you need to make sure during your beta, you're getting from your clients what you need to have a really successful product moving forward. And if you're not in Mastery, you need to get in Mastery because we teach this extensively. This is the way to launch a one-to-many or a productized offering. So definitely, I'm about that, but make sure you structure it correctly.
Perfect. Moving on to the next one. We've got, who was your most challenging client? What were the challenges, and what did you do to be successful with them?
I won't say names, but if you've been to the level 1, I talk about this. There's somebody that wanted to get blackout drunk on Friday and Saturday night. We worked.
I remember that one.
Yeah, like we worked 6 or 7 months before I finally just I stopped trying to have come to Jesus talk, and I had one with myself. And I said, Jason, either you figure it out or the client's off and they're never going to see success. So I started working with them. So I basically built a protocol for a lot of calories on Friday and Saturday night. And we ended up losing something like 30 pounds together. I'm happy to report she also ended up getting married, having a baby, came through our level 1, came through our mentorship. Like that's the kind of impact that I had in her life. So, really, really proud of her. To this day, still call her a very good friend, and really just couldn't be happier for how that worked out.
Love it, man. Now, another question from Magnus. He's asking, who is your biggest mentor and why was this person a good mentor?
Man.
You've had a lot of them.
My biggest mentor every day is Michael. He, despite what some people saw on the surface, he never judged me by that. Meaning there was a time when he came into the business where surface level Jason was not a good person. It was the manifestation of the shit that was happening in my life. And he knew that from day one. And he never asked me to be fundamentally different. He helped me express it in a different way. He knew that the vision was always pure. He knew that he knew that the potential was the same as it had been from day one. And he never allowed me to think otherwise. And to this day, I'm eternally grateful for that. So he continues to be a mentor to me every single day. He challenges me when I need to be challenged. He supports me when I need to be supported. He looks out for me as a brother. I love him just like a brother. Guys, I hope he sees this. I hope you guys share this. I hope you tag him in this. You guys need to be as thankful for him as you are for me. Because without him, this company probably doesn't exist today, if I'm being super honest. He is absolutely a mentor. I'd be remiss to point out a few others. Brian Panuzzo has very much been a mentor to me this last year. He's a very good friend. I happen to be his coach. I happen to be his wife's coach, but he's still a mentor. And I've had amazing mentors in my life, man. I've had Bedros Keuilian, I've had Craig Ballantyne, I've had Scott Oldford, I've had Garrett White, I have Dan Henry, I've had Sam Ovens. By saying all those names, I hope you realize I'm never afraid to invest in myself. I've invested probably $500,000 in mentorship in my life, and I'm always trying to learn. So, yeah, I hope that answers the question. I don't, obviously Michael becomes that person, but mentorship is such a big thing to me.
Love it. Now, another one from the Facebook comments is asking, when first getting started, how did you find your ideal clients?
I always worked with the problem I wanted to solve. It was always what I was most passionate about. You got to remember, I was the guy that went to CrossFit, and I always say I was the most hated CrossFit nutritionist before I was the most loved. Yeah. And it's because I always stood for for the truth that I knew existed. I knew that paleo was not right for CrossFit. I knew that CrossFitters were broken. They didn't want to, accept it. They were too busy drinking their own fucking Kool-Aid. But I had to always speak my truth. And so it served me well. I had to take a little heat before I got the praise. But I always stood by my own truth. And so when finding your ideal client, it's stop thinking about what's going to be profitable and start thinking about what's going to be fun. Because you got to wake up and you got to love it every day. And I know that sounds cliche as fuck, but you have to. Yeah,
100% agree. Cool. Looks like we got one more question, unless anyone else comments down below live. And then we'll move on to some other nutrition related questions. I have a couple questions on my mind I want to ask you. I think there's going to be some coaches that could find some value out of it. But this last one from the group is asking how to properly scale the business without losing its core values, which are understanding individual needs, customization, and highly impactful client experience. So how do you scale a business without kind of losing the core essence of it?
Once you define core values, everything that you scale, every offering should just keep those at the forefront. You just answered your own question. Every time you make an offer, it has to revolve. Those have to remain at the forefront. If you're forgetting any of those, then you're no longer scaling in your own core competency. I think a lot of people look at scale as a series of tactics, but scale is just an extension of what you're doing. I believe there's certain components of scale, there's certain steps to scale. I really believe in the coaching model. It goes from one-to-one, one-to-many, productized, and then knowledge-based. But all of those can have those components. So it's I think the first step is understanding what your core tenets are, because a lot of people skip that. We talk about that in Coaching Mastery as well. And then I think it's just always keeping those to the forefront. Every time you make a decision, right, you should deploy your decision against your core tenets. If it does not align, then you're making a misinformed decision. You need to go back to the drawing board. So I think that's where it starts.
Cool. Love it. And then what would you say, out of all the mess that is the nutrition industry at times, what would you say is the biggest misconception in the nutrition industry right now? I know there's a lot to pick from. There's a lot going on, but if you could narrow it down to one thing, what
is the biggest mess? I just got a text message literally right now from one of my clients that just got DM'd from a fucking business scammer, aka guru, aka whatever the fuck they do. That's the biggest mess. Is a bunch of motherfuckers going online thinking that they're a quote unquote coach when they haven't done shit, and they're learning the tactics of higher level business people and thinking if they deploy the same tactics that they're quote unquote actually helping people. That's the biggest mess, hands down. You won't convince me otherwise.
Cool. Awesome. We'll go out with a bang with the
whole podcast on that rant. I'm not even going to go there tonight.
Yeah, no, if you want a sneak peek of that sort of rant, I would check out the cold DM episode we did a while back. I don't know if this is the same topic, but it gets pretty similar. So I would definitely check that out after you're done watching this, especially if you're on YouTube. All of our podcasts are stored on there.
I think I went on a pretty good rant that night.
Yeah, that one was entertaining. I think I probably said 5 words the entire episode. So it was fun.
But no, that's on one, dude. It's I don't let you get in very much. So I was clearly on one that night.
For sure. But no, these were good questions today. But like you said earlier, for the future Q&As, I feel like when we do these solo episodes, we're always going to end it off with a sort of Q&A.
Yeah.
Just give the coaches in our group that follow us on YouTube the opportunity to ask you questions. Like Jason said earlier, like don't be afraid to get a little bit like borderline with the questions, like get out there with them.
Yeah,
nutrition related.
Be wildly inappropriate, please. Like it will make it way more entertaining for myself and everybody else.
For sure. So ask some questions for next time. I'll post in the nutrition coaching secrets groups if you guys aren't in there and you're watching on YouTube. The link will be in the description below as well. But Jay, is there anything else you want to cover on this episode before we wrap up?
No, man. You know what? I just want to quickly thank everybody that took time to come to Arizona. It was obviously a very difficult thing for us to pull off. I also want to congratulate my team. We pulled off a very safe, socially distanced event. We rented out a room for triple what we were going to have there, so we could operate within the 33% operating capacity. My team did a phenomenal job. Nobody felt uncomfortable. Everybody came out there, had a great time, connected, and I really think it was a breath of fresh air in a crazy time. As we wrap up such a crazy year, and I think we're really, vaccine or no vaccine, I still think we're just right in the middle of the craziness. I just want to remember, like, a lot of great things happened this year, and if greatness did happen this year, it means it's on the horizon for you next year. So whatever it is you're looking to achieve, you just commit yourself to the fact that it does exist, and know that, again, anything is possible. So I don't know who said Arizona was amazing, but thank you for saying that. I'm glad you guys had a good time. But yeah, that's really it, man. I'm so incredibly grateful for this community. I'm so grateful to get to do what we do. I walked away from that event with so much fucking gratitude, man. I was exhausted after 4 days, but I've never ridden such a high. And I'm so thankful for our community, man. We truly have the best coaches in the world that want to pay it forward, that want to do the right thing. And to all of them, man, like this, everything we do is for you. I'm so thankful for you. I love you guys so much. And I really believe this is just the beginning. So Army of Impact is right. Damn right, guys. Love you so much.
Awesome, guys. Well, thanks again for tuning in, and we will see you guys on the next episode. And we also have another episode of Coffee and Cash with Jason and Zach Mobius tomorrow. At what time is that, Jay?
I don't know, like 9:30 Eastern, 10:30. I don't know. It'll be posted somewhere.
Cool. A post will go.
You're asking me to know my schedule. That's crazy.
All good. But there will be an episode tomorrow, so we will see you guys on that episode tomorrow.